Hey everybody, welcome to the first video question and answer from the Doubt Box. Keep the questions coming so I can keep answering them. First question we have today is a doozy. Here it is. Why is there something rather than nothing? That is a great question. It's one that's been asked for thousands of years. I mean, why does all of this exist? Why do you exist? Why are we here? It's kind of one of those fundamental questions in philosophy. So the response I'm going to share with you tonight comes from Godfried Leibniz, and he was this brilliant philosopher and scientist back in the 1600s. He was, among many other things, the father of calculus. So in answering this age-old question, he actually turned it into an argument for the existence of God. And here's how it goes. Number one, everything that exists has an explanation for its existence, either from its own necessity or from contingency. Two, the universe has an explanation for its existence, and that explanation is God. Three, the universe exists. Therefore, the explanation for the universe is God. Make sense? Ha. Well, it's a lot of philosophical talk, so let's break it down into something that we can understand a little better. So let's take this pencil. Where did this pencil come from? All right, the store, right? Well, where did they get it? Well, somebody at some point had an idea, let's make a pencil. So they designed one, they built a factory, they made a bazillion of these, and they sold it to Target. Target sold it to me. That's where the pencil comes from. What about this barn? Where did it come from? Well, about 30 years ago, a guy named Kelly Friedland bought a whole bunch of wood and brick and everything else and built this house and built a barn. Where did the wood come from? Well, he got it from a lumber yard. They got it from a lumber mill. They got it from a lumber company that cut it down from a tree, and it grew from seeds from the trees left behind it. That's the explanation for the wood. Well, the same goes for pretty much everything else we can think of, including you and me. You want to know how you got here? Well, go ask your parents. We'll see what they say. So everything that exists has an explanation. And most of the time, that explanation is, well, it's something or someone made it. Now, there can easily have been a world without pencils, without trees, without you and me. None of us have to be here. That's what it means to be contingent. All of these things around us are only here because someone or something caused them. And that reasoning applies even to the universe itself. There's no reason to believe that the universe had to exist. And if it doesn't have to exist, then it needs an explanation. This is the first point of the argument. Everything that exists has an explanation for its existence. Now, on to the second point. What kind of explanation could the universe have? Well, since the universe consists of all matter and energy and time and space, well, the explanation for it has to be something not made of matter or energy or time and space. Explanation for the universe can't be part of the universe. Well, the list of possibilities that meet this description is pretty small, like 2. It's either abstract objects, like numbers or properties, or it's something kind of like God. Well, we know that abstract objects like the number 7 or the property of wetness, well, they can't really do anything. They can't make anything happen. So they're not really an explanation. So we're left with God. Now, if you think that's too much of a Sunday school answer, you could rephrase that to say, well, the explanation for the universe is, I don't know, something extremely powerful, uncaused, necessary, non-contingent, non-physical, immaterial, eternal being who created the entire universe and everything in it. Well, that sounds an awful lot like God to me. Wait a minute. You might say, if the universe needs an explanation for its existence, what about God? What's the explanation for God? Usually this is phrased as, well, if God made the universe, who made God, right? Well, and if you answer that, then they're going to say, well, who made that explanation for God? And so on and so on. It'll just go on forever. Ultimately, you end up needing something that had no cause. that didn't have a beginning, that has always existed because it has to exist. This is known as a necessary or non-contingent being. And the only one that really fits that description, again, is God. He is, by definition, the uncaused cause. So to summarize, what we would say is, one, everything exists has to have an explanation. And two, the only explanation for the universe, which is everything that we know of that exists, is God. And the only explanation for God is that he has to exist. So the answer to the question, why is there something rather than nothing? Well, the answer ultimately is God. Mr. Perry out.